Computer. Okay. Welcome back in. I'm so excited you're here and I'm so grateful that you're all here. I am really excited to get into the last conversation, I'm going to say. Today, I would love it to be a little bit more of a conversation. Like I was just going to mention, I'm going to leave a little bit of space to answer some of your questions. So as we're talking today, I want you to get in the chat and I want you to put anything and everything. If you could ask me anything about your business, about anything I do, let me know and let's talk about it. Let's jam on it, okay? So a little bit of an itinerary or kind of like reminders. Today's the last day to share the share graphic. If you haven't already, you can do so. As well, book your calls because I'm going to Mexico, like I said. However, there is a hurricane hitting the East Coast right now. So we're like, yeah, but I mean, we still got another week. So hurricanes don't last a week as long as our villa is still there, hopefully. Hopefully everybody is all good. My gosh, like that's scary. Anyway, still book your calls because I want to talk to you and connect in with you and see where you are, where you want to go, and how I can support you. Um, and yeah, let's get into the conversation. Okay, so we started 2 days ago. Let's just take a moment to reflect where we were 2 days ago. Okay, and I can probably assume I'm going to put my phone on airplane mode because it has this really weird vibration. Okay, I can probably assume that you're a different version of yourself to some degree, especially if you're brand new to my world. Okay, so you've learned a lot. We have talked about a lot of different things, and we're here now, and we get to integrate it into the body even more and take action. Okay, because without action, what happens? Not much. Okay, so we're going to learn today we're going to talk about a few different things, but we're also going to decide that it's now. Like it's now, we're starting now, and we are taking massive action, and this is our reality now. Okay. So we started with deciding that we are the one. We get to choose that we are the one, and then we get to choose who we're working with. Isn't that super cool? Instead of say like working a brick and mortar job or starting a random business where like people, yes, they have their clients, right? Like even Starbucks, for example, has like their ideal client, but they don't really truly get to choose who they serve. Us as coaches and service providers, isn't that pretty cool that we get to choose who we work with? And when we do, our business all of a sudden becomes so easy and so in flow and so like exciting and expansive for us. So it doesn't need to feel like we're trying to unstuck someone or trying to convince anyone or trying to even do things that don't feel aligned, right? So people that I attract tend to attract into my world are women who are big dreamers, but we're very much like feelers. We're feelers, right? So when we're presented with this idea that we need to follow a specific strategy, it feels hard and it feels abrasive a little bit. Okay, so when we realize, holy cow, I don't actually need to follow anyone's specific strategy. I don't need to even really like build my business in a specific way. I don't even need to label myself anything specific. Okay, I get to choose. That feels for us, how does it feel? Right? It feels freeing, liberating, expansive. It feels creative. Although there is sometimes those people that, and maybe that's some of us here, that might be a little afraid, right? A little bit like, ooh, that feels like a lot of pressure that I get to choose. Like, holy cow, I get to choose that. But the reality is that it's really cool that we actually do get to choose who we show up as and who we work with, the message that we're delivering right now, with the realization that it's going to continue to expand. It's going to continue to grow and elevate as we do. Okay, so our initial, it was yesterday, we talked about the business idea we have, like what our coaching, our essence is, what our unique flavor and wisdom is that we're here to share with the world. That transformation we're here to lead our ideal client through will change, right? It will change as we do. And I can already assume that your idea has probably already shifted a little bit. Is that right? Or we've started to like, okay, I actually don't want to work with people that are stuck. I actually would love to work with someone who is just looking for a little bit of extra support. A big realization I had a while ago was that there's nothing wrong with my ideal client. There's nothing wrong with her. There's actually nothing wrong with her. All she's looking for is a community and support and guidance to blow up her business and live her best life. Travel, make money while she sleeps. There's nothing wrong with her. Where I spent years thinking there was something wrong and I had to fix that thing that was wrong for her. There's nothing wrong with her. And I get to call that person in, right? And you guys probably resonate with that. Like, okay, we are our own worst enemy. We could probably say, well, there's some things wrong with me. But really, at the core, like, no, okay, there's nothing wrong with her. So I want you to think of that when you're thinking of your messaging. And it's our tendency is to look for something to fix. But what if she's just looking for someone who's already where she wants to be? Okay, and if what comes up usually is, I'm not where I want to be, right? Did you guys hear that to some degree in your head? Oh, but I'm not there yet. That doesn't matter. Okay, that doesn't matter. You're not lying. You're not painting a picture of, something that doesn't exist. What I want us to realize is that where we are right now in our lives, it actually is amazing. And there's lots of people that would love to be where we are. And especially if you are just starting your business or you have started your business or you are starting your business, whatever, somebody is right behind you and they're looking at you as their guide, right? Whatever that looks like, whatever opportunity, whatever transformation you are offering and here to share with the world, they're looking to you for that. So often what I see with my clients is that what we offer the world is something that we've already walked through, right? So that self-love, that self-worth, that I'm here to live my best life is something that's really unique to every single one of us. So if we, from what I just said, self-love, self-worth, here to live my best life, that is the most vague thing that we can possibly say, right? Because everyone wants that. Who doesn't want to love themselves more and live their best life? Okay, so this comes back to our part one where we started talking about, or sorry, part two, who we're here to serve and our messaging. So we need to go so deep into exactly who we want to serve so that we're in their head and it's not just live your best life and become the best of yourself. Because everybody wants that to some degree. Maybe some people don't want to become the best of themselves, right? But we get to choose who we work with and we get to call them in through our messaging. So it has to be so like honed in on them. Okay. I want to pause here and just open it up for questions. Do you guys have questions or how do you feel about calling in your ideal client? Okay, or and I know Larissa, this is a little bit different for you, but also being in this room, maybe you're like, well, actually, new ideas. Oh, what if I could be this? Okay. So feel free to share, you guys. If I just want to say one more thing, like we are all so unique. Like we started the first day talking, like we have such a unique story. And Larissa, I know a little bit of your past, like I said. So I know that there's so much wisdom within you that you have the ability to help so many people walk through it. That's essentially what a coach is we help people to collapse time and sometimes like skip timelines and remember what the timeline talk was is instead of continuing on the timeline of self-doubt, lack, limitation, not enoughness, right? Instead of continuing on that timeline, we have the opportunity to help them to jump onto living their best life. Okay. And so specifically with people that have been through traumatic situations or, addictions or whatever it is, that counseling calling that you have I do believe that it could be transformed into something, I don't want to say even bigger because counseling is really big and really important, but something like, yeah, something as well. I'm not even going to say different or bigger or anything. Okay. Um, okay, this is a good question. I sometimes don't know exactly who I serve, and I don't quite know how to get there. This is really, 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 really common, and this will become so much clearer the more you hone in on what your transformation is, the transformation that you're selling. Okay, and this is really important because I mean, especially as multidimensional women that are just like so multi-passionate and so like, yeah, just so full of wisdom, it's really hard for us sometimes to really like hone in and know exactly who we're here to serve. And so in my opinion, it really took me quite some time to like get so clear because there was a pull. I wanted to speak to two different people because I believed this is what was stopping me from choosing who I was speaking to is because I believed by speaking to one person, I was blocking everyone else. Okay, by speaking to one person, I was saying no to everyone else. But instead, here's what I did. I decided who my dreamiest client is. Okay, where she is, what she's doing, like what her hopes and dreams are. And so, Anushka, when you said, like, this is what I want, when you talked about traveling, making money while you move around, like with your kids, like that is exactly who I talk to. Okay. And so, you also have been thinking of coaching for a while. You've been thinking of moving into this space, and you maybe have already taken some steps towards that. This is who I speak to. Okay, so there was a time when I thought I needed to speak to the woman who wants to travel but doesn't know how. Okay, for me, if you think about that, feels like a lot of work. Like I'm like, okay, I gotta like show her like that coaching is an opportunity for her and try to like almost convince her through the way I live my life. Instead, I decided I'm speaking to the woman who knows she's here for more. She's on the edge of her seat and she comes into my world and is like, holy shit, this girl's speaking right to me. And like, I can't wait to get in her world even closer because I know she lives the life that I want, the ability to travel anywhere and build my business on the road with ease and have the kids around and have the business fit into everything I'm doing. Um, and so once I started to really speak to her, I realized, and this is something my coach helped me to work through as well, is I realized that what I'm doing is I'm calling those other women who might be wavering and like, I want that life for me, but I don't know how, or I don't know what I could do. I call them to rise and I show them the opportunity of coaching without saying, what about coaching? I'm like, the woman I work with know they're here for more and that they have a very strong and powerful message on their heart to share with the world. Does that does that land a little bit? Because it takes kind of the pressure of like, I don't know who I'm speaking to. What I hear there and what I assume is it's like, I want to speak to too many people. I want to speak to more than one person. And so by speaking to that one, we call the others to rise. So again, this ideal client will shift and change. And I also want to add, not to overwhelm or anything, but to just go a little bit broader and wider, is that your ideal client will shift according to your offerings, according to what you are selling. So, for example, I have the Rise Mastermind right now for women who want to scale their business to 5K months. Okay. But so then I'm speaking directly, basically what Anushka like painted for us, right? Okay. But then in the new year, I'm going to be launching another mastermind for women who want to refine to 15K months. Okay. That's a completely different audience. So then my messaging shifts, my content shifts, everything shifts. Okay. So sometimes it shifts like around what you are selling, what your transformation is. And that's okay, but the essence is still there. Okay. Our businesses, I'm going to say this one more thing, then I'm going to get to Larissa's. Our businesses are never ending. Okay. So some people here I don't believe it actually, but some people here on this planet maybe have this idea that I just want to sell one offer and I want to sell it again and again and again, one-on-one coaching and maybe a small group container, and I want to sell it again and again and again. For me, I look at it, my business, as kind of like a school. Okay. So I started Rise Academy with the intention of it being like a never-ending school. Okay. So let's look at like something like forest school or jungle school. I started a jungle school in Costa Rica. We start with the age of our kids. Okay. We start with our ideal client and where they're at right now. Okay. So to get my ideal client to where she needs to go, I am doing things like this event, right? I'm showing them, I'm speaking directly to my ideal client, but I'm showing you guys what I can do for you and the transformations that I offer. Okay. And so when we think of it as a school, we're starting here. This is like say, the youngest child we have. Okay. And then from there, we grow as the child grows and we give them opportunities to expand and elevate. That for me is Rise Academy. So that next mastermind in the new year is not going to be the last thing. It's going to be the next step, right? The next step in the journey. And what happens is as I transform and elevate and grow, my business does as well, right? My business does as well. And so remember what law was it? We talked about a law the other day. Actually, it's even just the quote that Wallace D. Wattles said, right? Our thoughts are the magnetic power that draw everything we desire to us, but our action makes us open to receive. So many people, and we talked about this a little bit, many people wait for the results before they move. Like they wait for clarification. They wait for the circumstances to be perfect. They wait for the opportunities to come or the like official invitation before they make the moves. Okay, that's backwards. Because if we in business, remember it's the law of compensation we talked about yesterday. Okay, who decides how good I am? Who decides how like valuable my work is? I decide before the results are in, right? Do we get this? I decide before the results are in. So I create the results by moving as an embodied version of me. This doesn't make any logical sense. If you tried to talk to your husband about this, he'd probably think you're nuts, right? Like the men tend to be a little bit more logical. They're like, yeah, this is what's happening. And they're like, okay, so show me the numbers. And you're like, well, it's coming. Like I just know it's here. I know it's here, it's happening. Okay, it's a little bit totally backwards. But in my world and everything we do, we move first. We move first before the opportunity, before the perfect circumstances, because what happens is we make the circumstances. Okay. That trip to Mexico, let's talk about this for a second because I think this is really valid, is even when we're making decisions and specifically with our business, we've been waiting, right? We've been maybe waiting a little bit. We've been waiting for something, the perfect situation or the circumstances or like the absolute how, the how to do it. Okay. So with the trip to Mexico, it's kind of like, I can wait for I'll just share a little bit of insight behind the scenes. So we're here in Canada and we are pet sitting, like dog sitting, traveling around, looking after people's houses, moving around a lot. Okay, right now I'm at my mom's house in the spare bedroom. It's like half done. It's hilarious, right? And so we can wait for the situation to be ideal or we can create it. Okay, this is a fair example of this. I'm going to this retreat in Mexico, and first I was holding it off because I didn't know where my family was going to live. Okay, that is very legit, right? I'm like, I can't just like peace out and leave you guys like with nowhere to live. Okay, I can't do that. That's awesome. So my logical mind was like, you can't go until you find a place to live for them. That's very logical and obvious, right? And so then I remembered, because again, I'm human, right? We all have our things. I remembered the work that I do and what I lead my clients through and the embodiment of the wish fulfilled, all the things, right? And I realized, holy shit, my inability to make this decision right now, it's what's causing all of these things to not happen. The house is not coming, right? The whatever it is, the money's not coming through my business. All of these things are not happening because I didn't make a decision to go. And guess what happened? I made the decision. We got a message for a house sit right then. Like I made the decision. I'm pretty sure it was the same day, if not the next day. Got a 3-week house sit. It's perfect. We went to visit them yesterday. They're absolutely magical human beings, right? House sit happened. And then I made the money in my business because I decided this is what I'm doing. I now have, let's see, I have 2 client calls today. I had 5 new people, 5 new clients come into my world within a matter of 2 days. Okay. Coincidence? No fucking way. Okay. That doesn't happen by accident. So I want you to ask yourself, where am I holding back? And where am I not deciding that this is who I am and what I'm here to do? Where am I not taking action? Okay. So I tend to anticipate how people are going to react and just won't reach out in the first place. I have the awareness I'm doing it, but don't catch myself until the opportunity passes. So this is why I love, okay, so can you clarify, is this as far as like clients goes or connections or like the school, or is this as far as finding support for yourself? Maybe you can clarify that.
Um, for like even just reaching out for the schooling, I'm just like, well, all these things, like I haven't done this and I haven't done this, and now I waited too long, and I may as well just not do it, and I'm just going to be told that I'm going to have to wait until next year. In that aspect.
Okay. Okay. So this is huge. And I know that we've talked a little bit about this before, but I think that I mean it's the decision because there is also that period as we know with the school districts and all the things of like staffing and getting people in the right places at the right time. Like it'll probably take a year before the paperwork gets all settled and everything happens anyway. And then you have that year to do those catch up things that you needed to have the certification be done. So
Yeah.
in the meantime, this is what I meant when I started the conversation today. There's so much potential of you starting your own coaching business where you coach. Maybe it's moms and their child, and specifically with EFT tapping, right? This is something you do not need a certification for. Okay, I'm going to break rules here. But the reality is that EFT is, yes, you can get a certification, but the certifications in EFT specifically are not regulated by any governing body. Okay. So you could essentially make up your own. I'm not saying like go do that, but like you could start your own coaching business right now, effective immediately at 10:31 on Wednesday, the 25th of September. I now have a business, right? And start inviting clients in. And this is something that like, yeah, it's actually, I'm going to tell you guys in a second what I have going on, but this is something that can happen really fast. And so, um, and this gives you this preparation for your bigger vision. And who knows where your bigger vision will actually lead you, right? By that time. Because the more that we step into uh, one direction and we make choices and we decide and we take bold action, the more we open ourselves up to different possibilities and different avenues. So we actually don't even know where we're going to be, a year from now. We can have some idea That's why that piece of like reverse engineering doesn't really work for me. Because I'm like, I don't want to limit myself, right? Okay. How does that feel, Larissa? What's coming up for you and like yeah, what do you feel about?
Oh my gosh. Look, when you worded it that way, and I know you've said it before, I'm like, well, of course I can. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I'm like, I could have been doing that, but I was stuck in a different frame of mind at the time.
Yeah,
And it just was not
yeah. We
like
all
in
do it.
my brain, it was not happening at that time.
We all do it, and it's all in divine timing, right? That's why you're here and right now. That's why we're all here. Because something's happening in this moment right now. So that's awesome. I think it's like there's nothing but possibilities. That's really exciting. Okay. So this is this is really cool when we realize that, you know, I can take action right now in my own unique way. Let's come back to you have superpowers in my own unique way. It doesn't even need to look a certain way. It doesn't need to follow anyone's rules. I just need to feel. And this is like a lot of, I'm gonna say like deconditioning, right? Because school tells us, like this, even the systematic way of existing tells us we need to do things in a linear way. Things need to be done in a certain way. Whereas, like I use often the jungle school example, it's like, you know, what the average person when I had the have the school is they're like, okay, what resources do we have? What leaders can we do we have? You know, what opportunities do we have? And I think for me, it's all about what do I want? What do we want? What do we want for the kids? And how can we call that in? So no matter where we are right now, our current results, our current connections, and our current even potential limitations or um, could be perceived as like hindrances, lack of time, whatever it is, like lack of routine or even space. We have an opportunity to see past it, right? And tap into something, that bigger version of our life that we know we're here for, that business that is it's it's like a ecosystem that just it grows, okay? And it feels effortless and it feels exciting. That is an opportunity we can tap into now and make it real. Okay. So I want to hear again from you guys, what resistance, if any, do we have right now from taking action? What is stopping us from taking action? And there's no judgment in this space. There's like, get it all out. What is lacking? What is stopping you? What thoughts are going through your head when you think, okay, I'm taking action? Okay, super curious, excited. What sometimes I hear, okay, love this. Okay. Actually going for it, letting go of past work experiences and throwing myself in 100%. Okay. So good. Self-doubt, not being able to convey properly what I'm offering. Do you mean like deliver? Is that what you mean by convey? Okay. So I love these so much. So letting go of past work experiences, I just want to say something here that I know you already know, but it's a really good reminder, is that nothing exists right now except right now. Okay. Um, like we talked about, I think it was yesterday, like we're just gonna, no, it was on the first day, I think. Like we're just gonna let go of anything that brought us to right now. We're just gonna let it go. So if we continue, again, we know this, if we continue to live through old ideas or old things that have happened and old we tried this before. We hear it in the head, right? You tried this before, nothing happened, right? Okay, we're just going to continue to create the same thing because like attracts like. And so when I first started this coaching business, I had a lot of that come up for me personally because I'd worked in coaching women in business setting and selling a product for like 7 years. Okay. And so there was a part of me that was like, you've done this before. Why are you throwing all of the past away? And like you've done this before and it didn't work out. It didn't feel good. It didn't flow, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So there was a lot of what I did for the first probably 3 months of having my coaching business was write out in my notebook a new story every day, that new story to re-solidify it in. And we talked about this yesterday a little bit about overriding those thoughts, overriding. So when we're reprogramming our mind to believe anything's possible or to believe in our own success or believe in ourselves, this is something that needs to happen every single day. Okay. I am a very consistent and determined woman. Like I am like disciplined and I am so stern with myself. Larissa knows this. Like I sometimes like talk to those limiting beliefs of like, get the fuck out. Like you are not me anymore. Like I'm done with you. It's like having a fight with those old stories and emotions because we need to get stern with ourselves and say, I'm sick of my shit, right? I'm sick of it. I don't live there anymore. And so there's nothing wrong with doing that, but we have to override it right away and say, no, actually, right here and now, I have never been this version of me. You've never been here before. None of us have. We've never been here with this information in this vibrational frequency before, this time and space. Okay, so it's actually impossible to create the same results. Okay, that's a very logical way of putting it. It's actually impossible, but we must stay on this timeline. We must continue to move towards what we're calling in as it moves towards us through embodying it. Okay, what is going to prolong the manifestation of our successful business is our inability to stay in vibrational frequency with what we desire. I'm going to say that a different way. If we waver in our faith, if we waver in our own self-belief, we're going to slow it down. I talk about the bridge of incidents sometimes. And I'll give you this analogy in case, because Anushka's new around here, and I think some of you that are watching on the replay. Okay, the bridge of incidents is basically, I like to see it as this bridge of along our timeline, right? This bridge. And when we're in alignment with where we're going, we're embodying it, we're speaking to our clients, and we are just fully alive by our business, energized by it. We're on that timeline and we're going through the bridge of incidents. It's constant. We're always on the bridge of incidents. So what happens when we're in vibrational alignment with that which we desire? We start to attract it and we start to attract different opportunities, connections, a random comment in a Facebook group that sparks an interest. And then we show up on an event like this, right? Like all of those things happen for us when we're in vibrational alignment with that which we're calling it, right? Okay. So what happens when we have a thought that says, you've done this before, you're going to fail again? We fall out of vibrational alignment when we listen to it. Okay, we can have those thoughts. We can watch them, right? We can watch them and observe them and see them come in because awareness is the only way to change something. So we can see them come in. And if we give our power away to them, what are we doing? Larissa knows. We're throwing ourselves off the bridge. Okay, we're throwing ourselves off that bridge. Like I see it as like a literal bridge of incidents. Okay. And what happens for most people? They're thrown off the bridge and they're under the bridge swimming upstream. listening to those thoughts and creating a story around it. See, I told you you weren't good enough. I told you you should go back to school to get another degree. I told you you didn't have enough time, and I told you you should have been a better mom. Like all of those stupid stories, they come in. And all we need to realize, this is what most people don't do. Most people will stay under the bridge, swimming upstream, telling themselves stories, and then say, okay, well, I got to go get another 9 to 5. I'm not an entrepreneur, right? I'm not just not fed up. I'm just not made out for this life or whatever people say, right? They start to believe it because we know those thoughts are strong. We've been living through them almost our entire life. And our outside results right now are most likely going to affirm them to be true, right? So then that's where most people hang out and they inevitably fail, whatever that means, right? They inevitably give up on their dreams until maybe something else comes along and then they try again and they're in this cycle. How many of us have done this more than once, right? We've done this a few times and we're like, I'm so done. Like, I'm so done. So, well, most people will stay in that cycle. Well, all we need to recognize is that it's a choice to get back on the bridge. That's all we need to do. And how do we do that? We stop those old thoughts by changing them. And we literally just think different thoughts. Okay, this sounds hypothetically easy, right? It sounds like, okay, yeah, easy to say. And doing that is another story. We know that as well, right? When we're in the depths of our thoughts and we're alone with ourselves, holy cow, those stories are loud, right? It's really easy to believe them when we're alone. And our physical world is like, ooh, it looks very familiar, right? So all we need to do is change the thoughts and literally override them. It's not like, oh, how do I like unpack this and decode it and like heal from it? No, it's literally see it for what it is. It's just old information. We bless it and we move on and we say, this is where I live now. And when we do that, we get back on the bridge of incidents and we take action. So, what moves us further along the bridge of incidents? Because we can stay, like we talked about yesterday, we can stay walking along that bridge of incidents, like vibrational alignment, love and life, everything feels good. It's all, you know, slowly things are happening. We're staying consistent, right? What moves us further along on that bridge of incidents? This is something we talked about yesterday. That is the missing piece for like 99% of people, and especially coaches, like newer coaches in this in the online space. I see it almost daily where I'm like, you have so much potential, but you're just walking along, skipping along the bridge of incidents, and you're living your best life, but nothing's happening. How do we move faster? How do we collapse that timeline? Through taking different action. It's through taking the action that doesn't make any logical sense. It's through starting the business, believing that you're a superstar when you're just starting, right? Believing that you're actually internet famous when like you have 150 followers. It's delusional. But guess what? It moves us forward. And from that frequency, we start to attract differently. So, what do we need to do to, like, what action do we need to take that we know is going to collapse that timeline, like shorten it? Okay, I want you guys to think right now, what action could I take right now that would collapse that timeline? Does anyone want to share? And again, like illogical, whatever, doesn't matter. Is there anything that you think that it's not how, it's you don't even know how. What action could you take that you know would collapse that timeline? I don't know.
think just doing it, like just ignoring the ignoring what's being said and just being like, okay, I'm doing it. This is what's happening, and this is how it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it sounds really easy, right? We're like, yeah, just do it. Like, what's the problem? Just do it. Hey, Anushka, by putting the offer out. Yes. Yes. Just do it. Okay. This is where we're at. All we need to do is just do it. Okay. So beyond this, we have we talked a little bit about the nervous system yesterday. Okay. What tends to happen is that I almost see it as like a glass ceiling. Okay. Each of us has like this glass ceiling. Okay. Which tends to be, it's something I want you to know that it's something that can change and it's something we can totally bust through. And we do it all the time. Like in my world, we do it all the time. But right now, we sometimes have this glass ceiling that no matter, maybe you've experienced this in a different way, no matter what we do, we like come to a certain spot, a certain place, a certain income level, a certain level of influence, a certain level of visibility, and we freak out. Has this happened to you before where you're like, you get almost there and then something happens? So what tends to happen is we're like, okay, well, just do it, just do it. And if we really truly start to take the action, what tends to happen is that glass ceiling becomes a little bit more apparent. Because especially if you're someone, which I assume we all are to some degree, we've done this before. We've started before, and then something held us back from really truly like blowing the lid off and blowing it up. Okay, and making it a really profitable ecosystem. Okay, so the nervous system is like, it's so important. I don't think the nervous system gets enough credit. Okay, the nervous system, everything we do in our business, when we want it to feel relaxed, in flow, expressive, creative, like empowering, all of those good things, when we want it to feel like bliss and excitement, this comes from a place of us being able to hold that. Okay, so in the beginning, when we're thinking, okay, Larissa's like, well, just do it. Like, just put the offer out. Sometimes what'll happen is our nervous system will be thrown into high gear the moment that we try to put the offer out, the moment that we try to do the things. And this amplifies our thoughts and our beliefs. So it shows us our weak links. It shows us the holes in our nervous system. So when our nervous system is strong and what's the word I want to use? Like it is not necessarily like balanced. There's a specific word. It starts with an R, I think. When it's like really healthy, it's a healthy nervous system. We want to be able to feel calm and and at peace, even when we're in a situation that is uncomfortable. So this is why I use tapping in everything I do, because it helps us to find the perceived weaknesses, but it also helps us to expand our capacity to hold. Because if we right now tell ourselves, I am the owner of a world-renowned coaching business that makes 100K a month, our nervous system cannot relate to that. Okay, so if we want to manifest something, our ability to relate to it becomes really, really important because that's how we can get our logical mind on board. When we can relate to, okay, 5K months in our business, having, tens of clients that are having 25 people in a group coaching program, that feels amazing. How does it feel in the nervous system? Is the nervous system like, holy shit, I can't hold that many people? Holy shit, how would I do that? That is very important information because if you don't acknowledge that, your nervous system will try to derail you. through your thoughts. Okay. So when we can relate to it, this is why when we're tapping, I'm often like, like, this is my new normal. Like 5K months. People find me on the internet and pay to work with me in minutes. Like those things I'm calling in, that is a very expansive way of like that style of tapping is like expansive, expanding tapping. I can't remember the exact, like overflow tapping, I call it. Okay, so if our nervous system isn't calibrated to where we want to go, there's a chance that we will hold ourselves back. So all I'm sharing this with you just so that you can notice that it's not just your thoughts. Okay, the nervous system and the body as a whole. I like to look at our business from like this holistic lens of like, it's not just, okay, my thoughts and my mind and my soul. It's very much like the nervous system holds information that are connected to our thoughts. And so the thoughts will tend to trigger the nervous system, which tends to trigger more thoughts. And then I feel overwhelmed, and then therefore, I'm going to be in my own way again. So does this make sense? That was kind of a side tangent a little bit, but I think it's so valuable to become aware of the fact that we get to reprogram our thoughts and like paying attention to the nervous system and realizing that we get to, okay, so everything we do, we want to feel safe. That's the base of everything we do. So when we don't feel safe, the nervous system goes into high alert. So when we're saying, okay, we're going to take the action, I'm going to put the offer out. If the nervous system's like, holy shit, we're going to fail, like, I don't know, all the things. Okay, our nervous system just wants to feel safe because that's its job. That's the job of that whole central system is to keep us safe. And so when you're using things like tapping, you can say like, it's okay. Like I'm safe. This is where I'm going. This is my new normal. This is what's happening. Okay. So that makes sense, you guys. I would love to do a short tapping with you guys just to kind of like test this out, test in this new reality. And then after the tapping, I'm going to share what I've been working on behind the scenes. And I just feel so strongly that it is like divine timing. Okay, are you ready? Gonna do some little bit of tapping. Okay. Anushka, do you have something to add before we do? Do you have a question or anything? Okay, I thought you had. Okay, so let's come to a comfortable seat, sit a little taller, roll the shoulders up and back a few times. And then close the eyes when you're ready. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through your imaginary straw. One more breath like this, in through the nose. And exhale. Just tuning in with how you're feeling right now and how you're feeling as you are choosing to step into this new identity, to adopt the identity of a coach, of someone who is here to lead other people to their greatness. Take a breath into this and exhale through the mouth. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Let's go right to the top of the head and say, this is my new reality. Eyebrow point. This is what I have been calling in. Side of the eyes. And although there's part of me that feels unsure under the eyes or potentially a little wavering in my faith, under the nose, that's okay. Under the mouth, I want to acknowledge that I am safe. Collarbone point. And this is happening in the perfect timing for me. Under the arms. I have been calling this experience in. Under the chest. This has been on my timeline for a while. Wrist point. I feel in my heart and my soul that this is my work. Top of the head. I'm here to do really big things. Eyebrow points. Average doesn't and has never served me. Side of the eyes. And it's okay to feel uncertain under the eyes. It's okay to not know all the details under the nose because I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Under the mouth, and everything's working out in my favor. Collarbone point, and I'm safe. Under the arms, I can't mess it up. Under the chest, even though there's part of me that is telling me old stories. Wrist point about how I've tried this before and it didn't work out. Top of the head, I know in my soul that that is not true. Eyebrow point, that's not going to happen again. Side of the eyes, because I'm not who I was before. Under the eyes, I couldn't possibly create the same results. Under the nose, I've never been here before. Under the mouth, I'm excited for what's to come. Collarbone point, and for what I am creating. Under the arms, all the clients and the students I'm calling in. Under the chest, that I will serve just by being the best of me. Wrist point, this is my truth. Top of the head, this is what I'm here for. Eyebrow point, and I'm declaring right here and now that this is happening for me. Under the eyes, I'm choosing to take the action. Under the nose, the embodied action. Under the mouth, as the version of me I know I'm here to be. Collarbone point, and I'm going to make my dreams real. Under the arms, it's okay for me to take up space. Under the chest, it's okay for me to be myself. Wrist point, it is safe for me to do so now. Okay, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, and so it is. It's happening. Take a breath. Exhale through the straw. One more breath. Just noticing what's happening in the body, noticing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. And exhale. Okay. You can open your eyes when you're ready. Love to hear what came up for you. How are you feeling? Do you feel any specific resistance that you're aware of? Or are you feeling you're like, yes, this is my truth. This is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. And I'm so ready. I'm so ready. How are you feeling? Let me know when you guys. Okay. Uplifted, ready. I felt the readiness. I feel the readiness, right? I feel the readiness. Okay, I want to share with you guys something that I've been working on And I just feel so deeply in my soul that this is like divine timing for everyone here, whether you're on live with me or on the replay. I know that this is exactly what would have seriously quantum leaped my life, collapsed that timeline, catapulted me onto a completely different timeline. I'm going to share the screen and I'll show you guys. Okay, you can see my screen, right? With the Canva. Okay. So this 3 days, we talked about having our superpowers and realizing that we get to blow up our lives. We're not waiting anymore. We're not second guessing ourselves. We're not falling back into old patterns. We're not waiting, is the bottom line. Okay. And we're not making it seem or look like we have to do it any certain way. We've been trying too hard, quite frankly. We've been trying too hard to figure it out, to fit in, to know who we're speaking to exactly, trying to like niche ourselves down and fit into a nice pretty box. It doesn't need to be like that. So I hope that this event alone has helped you to expand your perception and realize that just as you are today, you have so much valuable wisdom and creativity within you that is ready to be shared with the world. So I want to introduce you to a mini mind I'm offering to my community in October. It's a 3-week opportunity to work with me in a group setting and in a one-on-one setting. I'll explain that in a second. So what this is it's turn your mountain into your movement. So you know what you're here to do, or you have a pretty good idea. Okay, so what I'm going to teach you over 3 weeks is how to officially start your coaching business, launch your first offer, and sell it while you sleep through your social media content. Okay, so there's a lot of different moving parts here. It'll be 3 live group mastermind calls. So if you've never been in a mastermind, it looks like meeting as a group and you bring your questions. Like I will lead the conversation with exactly where we need to go, but then everyone will have the opportunity to pipe in with their own specific situation or their specific questions. And the cool thing about a mastermind setting, which I am actually personally obsessed with, is that we get to receive different inputs and different ideas from other people as well. It's not just one-on-one where it's you and I working together on your specific business, but you actually get to hear what other people are up to, what they're moving through, and kind of like receive direct, indirect coaching on those calls. Okay, so there's going to be 3 live calls. There will be a library of mini trainings where you can tap in, where I'm going to teach you specific strategies or give you specific like suggestions on what to do and give you suggestions on the how, right? How to sell your offers through your social media content. So we'll be talking a lot more about developing our ideal client, right? Getting into their head, creating actual content. I'll be teaching you like my own strategies as far as what I use with my content, how to show up on social media. There's going to be a lot about embodiment and getting out of our own way, manifestation, of course, but I want this to be a very tangible course. Okay, a tangible mini mind so that you can literally come in and by the end, you are ready and you're selling your program. Okay, this program could look like a group program or it could look like a one-on-one coaching container. It's totally unique to you. There's probably other things that it could look like as well, but I'm going to show you my unique launch process and how I sell and have so much fun selling. Going to be a really, really fun time. So this is right now, it's usually $222, but you can join for the next 24 hours for half price. And you can also get weekly one-on-one private coaching with me. Okay, so that means that yes, we have the one live call as a group, but we also have a one-on-one call where we get to go specifically into your content, your messaging, your business, behind the scenes. If you need help with like tech stuff, this is also where you can ask me your specific questions because I have a fully functioning online business behind the scenes with multiple different avenues and automation. This is also huge. We'll talk a little bit about automation in the actual mini mind, of course, because that's how we sell while we're sleeping, is we need to have the systems in place. But to have the one-on-one private coaching is pretty special as well. So, do you guys have any questions for me? I feel like this is, like I said, exactly what I needed when I first started my business because it's exactly how to start, like finally put this in motion and to move fast. Okay, so we all want the more freedom, more time. We want the ability to have our back, like our business in our back pocket. So as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, and as you guys know, we travel around basically whenever we want. And I have a business that pays me even when I'm not actually in a call or on a one-on-one or whatever it is. And this is what I want more than anything for you guys because in my opinion, this is freedom. When we have this ability to be the best of ourselves, fully express ourselves, and get paid for it, like who doesn't want that, right? It's the best. It's so fun. So that is what I have to offer you. And then I want to say one more thing that starting in November, the mastermind starts again. So all of the mini mind students will get a credit towards the mastermind if you feel like you want to continue on. Um, in my opinion, the longer term containers with the community, again, the weekly calls where we come together and we visioneer and we project what's gonna, like, what's coming, what are we calling in, how can we move this into the body even more? This is vital, vital, okay, in my opinion. Okay, I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm so proud of you for being here and I'm so excited. We're ready, right? We're ready to take the action to make it happen and to create a business that is thriving, right? And is changing lives and is giving our family the freedom and the even the passion and the fulfillment and the purpose that we've been waiting for. Okay. I am going to update the replay page with this replay and I'll put the link to the mini mind in there and you guys can jump in for the next 24 hours to get that bonus of the one-on-one. You feel called to jump in and work with me. I'm so pumped to support you and to like, I don't even like to use the word help because I know you could do this on your own. I just want to say that I know you can do this on your own. You all know this, but I know that I can support you in moving faster and having more fun. Okay, you guys ready? I'm pumped. Okay, go have the best day ever. It's 11:11 again. Love teaching classes at 10 because then we end at 11:11. Have the best day ever, and it was so good to hang out with you guys for the last 3 days. And everyone on the replay as well. You guys are all amazing. Let's make this happen. Take massive aligned action and blow up our lives and our businesses because we get to choose the pace at which we move. Let's stop waiting. Okay. Bye, you guys. It was so good to see you. Bye.